Do you think you can make more money working for yourself? Hey, before you dive off the deep end, let's talk about it on this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest news, products, and politics from today's leading industry pros, offering you their technical marketing and growth strategies to give you, the pest management professional, that killer edge. Hey there, and welcome to another edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. This is Frank Hernandez, your Pest Geek. And hey, we're going to be discussing the concept or the idea or the thought of going to work for yourself. And do you think you can make more money working on your own than working for somebody else? I get this question asked to me a lot. We get a lot of calls from technicians that are currently working for somebody, and they want to go out on their own, and they call us about our franchise and wanting to know what it's going to take for them to be able to go out on their own. And the reasons, there are usually four common reasons why people give us a call. And this is an over a period of time. We've gathered this information, and we're talking to them and discussing why it is that they want to go out and work on their own. And we're going to start out, there's basically four questions that they ask us, or four reasons that this is happening. First of all, they think they're not getting paid what they're worth. And they think that the company is making a lot of money, and they're getting paid peanuts, and they feel that they should get paid more. And they're looking at what the invoice says, they're looking at what they're getting paid, and they're saying, I could really go out and do this and make more money. And you got to really analyze that, because what that is saying is that you really don't understand the cost of doing business. And a lot of times in our heart, greed starts to creep in, and we just feel that our boss is ripping us off, and that he's making so much more money. He's charging a customer $200 and he's paying us $15 an hour or $10 an hour. And, we just feel that we should be making a lot more than that. Well, you have to understand that business has many, 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 many costs associated with it that are going to influence what price is being charged and what you can get paid for that. And it might be the case that you're really grossly underpaid. And what you have to do is you got to find out what other companies selling the same product, the same service, at the same cost are paying their people. And then you can evaluate whether it's true that you're not getting paid enough. But here's the reality. None of us are really paid what we think we're worth. I mean, I don't get paid what I think I'm worth, and I run my own business, but I understand that I have a fiduciary responsibility to the company, and I can't just take out every penny that I want to live the lifestyle that I want. I have to live under the same rules that I would live under if I was working for a corporation that was paying me a salary. And that's how we have to look at it. I don't think I get charged my customers enough for the job that we do. But a lot of times we don't get to choose the price in our market, or competitors do. And what we can do is set ourselves apart from our competition, having a unique selling proposition that nobody else is doing, or that very few are doing, and then be able to justify a higher price for our service or our product. Going into a niche market like, doing just exclusively medical facilities would demand a higher pay than you would charge from a regular company just doing regular services, because you're offering sterility, you're offering certain things that other people aren't doing. And that would justify you making more money as an owner and as an employee. Second of all, what is it that you're really doing for what you're getting paid? Does your company offer you incentives for you to sell more, upsell a customer? For instance, when you get to your customer's home and you provide a service for them, do you cloverleaf the neighborhood? In other words, do you put a card on the house across the street and the house next to you, and therefore you're able to get some sales commission and for selling those accounts? Does your company have salespeople that handle that? And are those people having to be paid for their service? And I have here a shock for you that if your company has salespeople are the highest paid usually in a company, more than the technician. And the reason is their job is a lot harder because they have to go out and get a customer. They have to prospect. They have to, most of the times they go out and get their own leads, and the company doesn't provide a whole lot of leads for them. And they do a lot of prospecting, which takes up a lot of time, and they have to do that selling. So, you have to evaluate and be fair and equitable here that, are you really getting paid what you're worth? And most people are just upset about that, especially in a down economy. They've having to take on more accounts on their routes, and they've gotten rid of more technicians. And I understand that, but that's not really a reason to go into business. It shouldn't be. Maybe you're not appreciated, and your boss, your managers, the owner of the company doesn't really appreciate the work that its people does, and basically you're just another person there that they can really get rid of and fill it with somebody else. It's no different, So a lot of people are feeling that way, and it's normal, but that's not a real reason to go into business. Maybe you should try go working for somebody else. Are you frustrated with your company, your boss, your job, with all the changes that are being made because maybe they got bought out? Or that's just a big trend right now in the industry where companies are selling out to bigger companies, and a lot of mergers are going on, and you're frustrated with all the changes and all the new training. And if you're frustrated with that and you're trying to go into business for yourself, get ready that that's going to be the norm in your life. Change is constant in business, and if you're not changing and you're not evolving and you're not willing to do that, you're probably not cut out to be a business owner. The last reason is you got fired or you got laid off, and you're thinking, well, maybe if I go out and instead of looking for another job, I just start my own company. And that could be a valid reason for you to go out and start. But here's the problem. Maybe you signed a non-compete, and your non-compete tells you can't go after their customers. And that raises a whole bunch of ethical questions, whether, even if you don't have a non-compete, you're going to go after the customers. As well, the customers have said that if I leave, they're not happy with the company and they will leave. That might be so, but if they have a contract, they can't just walk up and leave. Second, you have the issue of the non-compete and how far can that go in your state? And are you going to be able to, and you think that, well, if all these, I will have just enough to make it because obviously I can charge less than my company does. And that is one of the first and fatal mistakes that people think when they go start their own business, that they can do the job cheaper and therefore get more business. And I'm telling you, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for failure in the future. Because if you cut your prices so low to compete against your current boss or the competition, you will not have enough operating profit to be able to later on grow the business. You will not be able to expand beyond one route because you will not have enough profit out of those routes to pay a technician to go out and do the work so you can grow your business, so you can focus on sales, so you can focus on marketing, so you can focus on the things that grow your business, which is not the tech work. And here's what happens. This is what in Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth Revisited, he calls, you're having an entrepreneurial seizure. Whatever the reason is that you want to leave, it's usually not because you want to create a great company, that you think you have a great idea and that you're going to go out and build a company because you love this industry and you love the business, and you're going to make a difference in this industry. When I got into business, in the pest control business, I came with 25 years of corporate sales, management, and marketing experience to be able to launch my own company, which is what I've always wanted to do. I never wanted to work for somebody else. I didn't leave my job and was angry and was upset and was frustrated. I was strategically looking for a business to start for about 3 years. And I took a sabbatical from the corporate world, and I did some other things with my life that greatly enriched me and then allowed me to focus on what company I wanted to build. And I found this opportunity that came to me, and I took it and I said, this is something I can work with. But it wasn't for any of the other reasons that are common when people call me and say, I want to do this. And I really have to consult them, and I really have to say, are you really going to be cut out to do this and run a company and run a business? Because as a franchisee, it's not what most people think. It isn't that you're just going to be able to jump in your truck and we're going to provide you with leads and we're going to give you all the customers and we're going to do all the marketing for you and we're going to do all the accounting and we're going to do all the bookkeeping and we're going to do the prospecting and you're just going to be a technician. No, you have to actually run your business like a business, and we give you a system, we give you a platform, we give you infrastructure, we give you guidance, and we give you the help, and we give you co-op marketing, but we don't get to do all those things for you. That's something you still have to do as a business owner. And most people are confused about what it actually takes to run a business. 10 things you should consider that I think are vitally important before you go out and you make a decision to leave the company and try to start out. The worst mistake that people make is asking their friends and family what they think they should do to start a business. And here's why. The reality is that your friends and family have never, ever started or run a business. And they'll say, yeah, you should do it. It's great. You go out and you do that. And they give you advice on things they've never done, they've never considered, and they've never actually had to pull off. Until you've actually had to pull off a launch, a startup, make it profitable, you have no clue of what it really takes to do this. And you say, yeah. Many people would buy it. It's a great idea. You do this and that. And the proof, like I said, is always in the pudding. I don't know who came up with that and why the proof is in the pudding and where do you find it. But you get the idea that unless are you willing to sign up for my service the minute I launch my company? How many people that are giving you the advice are actually willing to buy your product now? Like sign up now. And that's going to give you an indication of how really desirable your product is. Because all of our data shows that 20% of people ever buy pest control, and really only 3% of that 20 that you ever consider marketing to are going to have an immediate need, and then really only a third are going to buy out of that. So it's, the 20% times 3, and then divided by 3 again, and that's going to give you, for every 1,000 people, how many you think you can actually sell, but you're going to have to go through the 1,000. And that's prospecting. I'm going to give you something that you need to consider, because right now as a technician, your time is mostly spent on you're what, if you understand yourself as an employee, you're going to have to make a fundamental mind shift from an employee whose work is planned for, provided for. You show up to work, the customers are there. The customers have been there. Somebody worked to get you those customers. And you show up to work, and all you really have to do is focus on your route, your business. Yeah, you might have other things they ask you to do, like collect from past due accounts before you service the account. That's normal for any route business. I've been in other route businesses before, and it's the same thing. The product isn't available. Things happen. Trucks break down. You got inconveniences. But overall, think about how your time is spent. It's spent mostly on applying services and products. And the way that the technician feels is, if I'm just left alone and give me my customers, give me the route, let me go out and do it and stay out of my hair, I would get things done. When you are a business owner, you're going to have to do, first of all, a lot of prospecting. And you're going to be spending your time talking to people that can't buy your product and don't want to buy your product. And you're going to be spending most of your time doing the sales. That's prospecting. Then you have to go out and do estimates. How long does an estimate take? Well, you got travel time. And let's say the time that you spend with the customer. Say you invest an hour with a customer and you didn't close it. You didn't sell it. You just lost an hour. Second of all, there's all the administrative things that you have to do. The taxes have to be paid. The invoices have to be mailed. Accounts have to be collected on. Phone calls have to be made. Appointments have to be set. So really, when you start growing your business, at first you have all this time on your hands. And then 6 months down the line, your time is divided by 3. 1/3 of your time is spent prospecting and selling. The other 1/3 of your time is spent doing administrative work, paying bills. The truck breaks down, you get to go fix it. The equipment breaks down, you get to go fix it. You need to go buy your supplies, you get to go buy them. And then you really only spend 1/3 of your time doing the work that you now would want to do more of if everybody would just get out of your hair. And you only really spend 1/3 of your time doing that, which makes you to say, how much money are you actually making? You see? And that is the challenge that most people who go into business for themselves find themselves in 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line. And then not only are they only working 1/3 of the time or half of the time, but now they're charging half of what their employer used to charge, and they can't figure out why they're not making money. You see, so these are things that you should consider before you go out. Do you really know what it takes to run a pest control business? And the reality is that most people don't, because that information isn't shared by their bosses. Number 2, can you handle the financial bootstrapping that will be required? In other words, are you going to be able to downsize your family? Are you going to be able to downsize your economy? Now, in order to be able to say, so I can make it through. The number one reason that businesses fail by over 95% is undercapitalization. They miscalculate what they're really going to need to make the business work. And I'll tell you right now, the biggest expense you're going to have isn't the truck. It isn't the equipment. It isn't the chemicals. Guess what? It's going to be advertising and marketing. It's going to be your biggest cost. Because unless you can tell people that you exist, nobody's going to call you. You're going to have to spend it in advertising money, whether you do pay-per-click campaigns, whether you do SEO, whether you do direct mail to every door, whether you go door knocking. It's going to have a price. Can you pay it? Can you live now with the uncertainty of a paycheck and then work twice the hours that you're working now? Because initially you're going to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week to get it off the ground. And can you do that? Number 5, do you have a passion for the industry of pest control? Or are you just looking for a way to make some money? Because if you don't have a passion for what it is that you're doing, I'm going to tell you right now that illusion of becoming a business owner is going to get very quickly eroded. If the only reason is to make money, you're going to figure out, I could have stayed working for somebody else and made more money than I'm making now, because I've been through that. Do you need a job right now? And again, feel better that it's better off starting a company than looking for a job, because you've been looking for 6 months and nobody will hire you. So the other one would be, everyone else seems to be doing okay, making lots of money. Well, there's a far cry between what people really tell you, what they're going through. As you know, you ask a technician in the field, how's it going? Great. How's your business? Great. And at the end of the month, they're, wringing their fingers. How are we going to make payroll? How are we going to make the rent? So one thing is what people seem to have, and the other thing is what they really do have. If you need to make money fast, starting a business is the worst way to go. It's not built overnight. It takes time. The average business takes between a year and 2 years to build up before they're profitable. I want easier, more flexible hours. That's a myth. You will have more flexible hours. The problem is your flexible hours will be torn between everything else. Yeah, you can decide if you're going to work evenings or you're going to work mornings. You can decide based around your family. The hours aren't going to be easier. You're going to work more hours. There's a big difference when you're the main bread maker in the family and maybe your wife or another spouse got laid off and one salary can support the family for a while. And then you're able to go and start a business and not worry about, you're going to be tight, but you're not going to be out on the street. When you're the main bread maker in the family, that luxury is gone. And the question is, are you really, really going to go out and look under every rock, work the hours that you have to make the money that you have to? Are you really going to be a hustler and chase down every opportunity to be able to get the business? And lastly, you want the prestige that comes from being a business owner. It might sound good on a business card that you put CEO, but unless the money's in the bank and you're doing business, it really doesn't mean much. A lot of people get the whole thing about companies are out there selling the idea that you're going to get this lifestyle if you become a business owner. And if you talk to most business owners and tell you what their first years were like, you would get a story that you would not believe. And when you think that your boss is not doing what he thinks he should be doing because you see it from the eyes of a technician and he's an entrepreneur or he's a very good manager and he knows what it took to build that business up, and you're basically reaping from something that he sowed and watered, and you somehow think that you should be doing more or getting more a piece of that pie. And look, it could be that your boss is very stingy. You could be that your boss doesn't care about his employees. It could be that your boss is everything that you say and you think about. But that is not a reason for you to go into business for yourself. I highly recommend, if you want to start your own business, that you at least read or listen to Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth Revisited. You can get a free trial, an audio trial on that at audibletrial.com/pestgeek. If you use our code, you can get a free 30-day trial. Check out the book. You can make that your first listen and decide if you're willing to do what it really takes to become a successful business owner. It can be done if you use a systemized approach. Even if you're not a franchisee or a franchise, you can use the principles from franchising to grow your business and to systematize everything that you do in order to have more success. And a lot of the time, business owners or people that want to go into business, what they want to do is they want to fire the boss, get rid of the boss, and not have systems and processes in place. And that is really the only thing that is going to make your business successful, is to have systems and processes in place that allow you to get the right people to follow those systems and processes. And I think that that's something you should very, very seriously consider. And I really do appreciate the time that you have invested in this podcast. And until next time, folks, you have a great one. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.